Hello, everybody. Welcome to this Facebook Live event. We're discussing teaching issues in Pakistan. This is brought to you by the British Council. Today, we're going to be talking about differentiation. It's perhaps a topic which teachers are not comfortable with when they first begin teaching, but maybe try to take on the challenge and master differentiation in the classroom once they've got a little bit of experience. I'm very happy to be joined today by two experienced educators. So we've got Mohammed Imran, and he is from Nowshera. He's working at FATA University and he's working towards his PhD. So welcome, Imran. And we're also joined by Mayam Jilani, who I've been trying to say her name correctly, so I hope I got it right this time. So welcome, Mayam. She's been in education for 12 years. She's an academic coordinator. She's in Karachi. We might have another guest later as well. We're having some cloud issues with connectivity today. So let's see how it goes. If you are watching this Facebook Live event, welcome to you. Please leave a comment in the comments section. Tell us where you're watching from in Pakistan. If you've got any techniques or structures you use in your lessons to differentiate, then please share them with everybody else. Or if you find it challenging and you want to maybe ask some questions about the challenge of differentiation, then please share that information as well and get involved in the debate. Okay, so let's get started then. So first of all, why is it important to differentiate? Why is differentiation important? And I'm going to ask Mayam first.
Okay, differentiated instruction is as important as to just keep this thing in mind that every individual have their own needs, and we have to fulfill their own needs to make their to polish their skills and to make them more competent to work in every field in future.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much, Mayam. And then Imran, do you want to add anything to that? We're talking about the importance of differentiation.
Thank you so much, Chris, for giving me opportunity to share my view. What we share make us human, and what we differ make us individual. So we are not the same. Every individual is different from one another. So these differences might be because of social differences, cultural differences, and it might be because of environmental differences, and it might be because of class differences. So therefore, when it comes to learning, students have different strategies to learn. For example, we see that some of the students are visual oriented rather than auditory oriented, while some are kinesthetic oriented rather than auditory one. So when I say visual oriented, so when you teach them and when you teach them with the help of visual aids, so they will learn the best. While there might be students, when they hear you properly, so they will learn the best. And there might be students in your class, when you feel them, when they touch the real object, so they will learn the best. So I can say that some will learn through visual aids, while other learners will learn through real objects. Some will learn through similar or opposite words like synonym and antonym, while other will learn through miming or drama. So if like we see that, then why is it that we often rely on the same lesson plan and use the same method of teaching for an entire class? Because we have different types of students, they have different cognitive level, they have different social level, they have different cultural background. So we need to adopt different differentiation techniques in order to create like a success for the whole class or the whole learners who are sitting in the class.
Thank you very much, Imran. And that was a very full answer there. And I think you started by sort of giving a list of the different ways that students can be different. And I think we often think about different needs. Sometimes we talk about special educational needs and cognitive level, but there are so many different ways that the students can be different from each other. It's better, instead of thinking about do this for visual learners and auditory learners or this cognitive level, it's better to just take on the whole ethos of being inclusive in our teaching, right? So that's wonderful. Thank you, Imran. I can see some people are commenting already. Usama's watching from Peshawar. Fiba is watching from Rawalpindi. And then, okay, some people are starting already to join in with the debate. That's brilliant. And we will see we've been joined by another guest. So Marina Begum, she's been in education since 1994. She's from Hunza, but she's in Gilgit City now, and she's running a chain of private schools. Okay, so welcome, Marina, as well. And as we move on to the next question, so the next question is, how can we differentiate our teaching? So we're talking about the sort of the teaching, the presentation stage of the lesson, maybe where the teacher's presenting or explaining a concept. How can we differentiate at that stage? And Marina, I'll ask you first this time, please.
We can use in the presentation of our differentiating methods. First of all, let's go back a little and look into the Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences and Bloom's taxonomy. In the both theories, they have clearly listed, or they categorized different interest level, multiple mental level, and their understanding level. So, for example, if you take the Gardner's multiple intelligences theory, so there they have given 7 kinds of people, 7 kinds of intelligences, where kids are learning with a different method. In our school, teaching them a same concept with the various ways of teaching, whether in this we have to select what content we are going to select for the students to understand that concept. And the next stage comes to the process. So what creative activities we can introduce in the class to engage all the students, or to include, or if for the inclusion of all students, where all the interest level, mental level, and learning stage levels kids could participate and understand the very concept equally as the other step who we have labeled as the very sharp students, or the bright students, or the kind of we can say the very good students. But that's not the case of some people. Kids are having low mental level, some are high or equal, but the interest level in class is different. The learning methods are different. They are learning from various ways. For example, some students are very much into the music. They will learn from the music better than giving them some theoretical understanding. Some are very good at practical work. Some are good at sports. So we have to introduce in the class various kind of activities where we could put the components of all the multiple intelligence level. If not 7, maybe 4, 3, 5, such kind of. So we should, that a teacher should ensure every student's participation and equally learning from the very concept. So no child should left behind, as the theory was happened in 2000. That there started a theory that no child should left behind, to include all the students into the classroom, into the learning processes, so every student could build a concept to learn together. And the third one is how we can create an enabling environment. If the content is there, if we have a good pedagogy, but we are not creating a learning environment, so that the first 2 can be failed. So for that reason, we should create a learning environment. For them, if I'm taking a reading class, I should take them to the library. I should give them some magazines, books, or maybe some relevant videos before looking into them to the reading, I should give them, show them a small clips to just gain the students' interest. I should choose some vocabulary. I should choose some characters, or I should make them to do a small skit on that. Or after doing any kind of reading, I can ask them to do some plays on that. So these various methods we can include in our classroom. We can get introduced in the classroom to include all the students in the classroom activities, or to, we can say, to implement this very new training method in differentiate in our classroom. It's all means that we have how well we can include all students and the same page, and how they can learn together. Thank you.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much, Marina. And whereas we started talking about the needs of the students, I mean, you've gone on to talk about the different
Yes.
interests of the students and the different strengths of the students, and also creating a learning environment. I was watching a video the other day about differentiation, and the speaker began by trying to define differentiation, and she said it's where we create an environment which takes into account the needs, interests, and abilities of all the students, and teaches them in a way which gives them all a chance to achieve and learn. I'm going to share that video in a moment for anybody who wants to learn a bit more about differentiation after this. Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Marina. So Marina went on to talk a bit about the activities as well, but just going back to the teaching, the presentation stage, Imran, is there anything you'd like to add about that?
Can be categorized, sorry. Yes. Yeah, so for me, that differentiation in teaching can be categorized according to resources and according to task or support. First, I would like to talk about differentiation by resources or material. So learning material can be differentiated by student interest or ability level. So we can use different type of resources by looking the level of the student or by looking the ability of the student, because we most often we don't have like homogeneous class, right? So we have different ability of student and different interest of students. So what should a teacher do? Teachers can assign different materials or provide student choice. Now, for example, a teacher can use like different charts, different tables, or diagram according to the interest of the students, or according to the levels, by looking the levels of the students, right? And teachers can use also sometimes laptops, sometimes website, internet, video, and audio resources. And sometimes the teacher can use dictionary, books, and course books as resource for the class or of a particular activity. Or sometimes looking at the levels and interests of the students, teacher can use PowerPoint presentation. Similarly, that the teachers can make groups, and then one group, and within a group, one learner can support or give guidance to other learners in the same group. So I mean that there can be different kind of resources according to the levels and according to the interest of the students. And it also depends, okay, that what kind of activity is there. Okay, so we can use different kind of resources for different activities. Like in the past, what happened that we had the same one teacher and the same one methodology. So might be a few, 1, 2, or 3 students would pick what the teacher is teaching, but the whole class, it wouldn't be like a successful class. But now we have differentiation techniques. So we can use different materials and different resources according to the levels and interest of the students.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, wonderful. I just we've got another point to discuss. Zishan, I see that Zishan has asked a question. Is differentiated teaching practical? Do you want to say anything about that, Imran?
In some cases, it is practical, but in some cases, it is not. Pakistan, for example, if you talk about in Pakistani context, in government school, it's not applicable because there is one single teacher and the strength of the students, sometimes 100, sometimes 90 students, more than 100 students. But in like private sector schools, we have here like chains of school, like Beacon House system, city schools. So there, to some extent, it is applicable, but it is not practical, particularly in government school, because lack of resources and lack of trained faculties, right, and lack of human resources. So in government schools, for me, it's not practical, it's not applicable. But in private setup, in private school, for me, it is to some extent it's applicable, and we can go.
I think perhaps, some of the things you've suggested, for example, you've talked about using technology like using a laptop or maybe playing a video. If a teacher doesn't have a computer or doesn't have a video projector or a screen in the classroom, it's not possible, right? But I think some kind of differentiation is possible, even with a class of 100. I'm not saying it's easy. I've never taught a class of 100 children, I've got to say that. But, you even about the interests, you could say, today we are writing a review, okay? Everybody who's interested in football, you can write a review of a football match you've seen. Everybody who's interested in pop music, you can write a review of a pop music video, okay? So, obviously some things rely on resources, and if you don't have the resources, you can't do it. But I think maybe we should still focus on what we can do. Okay, go on, Imran.
Yes, here I will add that in Pakistani context, most of the teachers are preoccupied because I told you that low salaries there, a lot of problems are there. So when the teachers, they come to the class, they are not well prepared, right? So when they leave, by the time they leave the class, they come to home, so they are in search of other income sources, right? So they do not come to class with full preparation. So if you're already preoccupied, you have a lot of issues, then how can you create interest for the students in the class? And how can you adopt different differentiation techniques in the class? Yes, I agree with you that in the 100 students class, we can also apply. But if the teachers are given some incentives and they are not preoccupied, there are human resources, right there, like technology, laptop. I see in Pakistani schools, even the students and the teachers, they do not know how to operate laptop and computer. Then how can they use laptop and computer within the class? In private sector, yes, it's possible. But in government schools, I don't think it's possible.
All right, well, that's fair enough. Just before we move on to talking about activities, in the session I shared from Rachel Roberts, one tip which she talked about is just to wait a little bit longer when the students put their hands up. So, for example, if you want to ask a question to check the student's understanding, you can just wait a little bit longer before you select a student to answer the question. If you only wait for 1 second, you will only ever be asking the fastest thinkers. But if you wait for 10 seconds, it gives an opportunity for the students who process information a little bit slowly to take part in the checking of the understanding, okay? And I suppose you could do that no matter how many students you've got in the class. Anyway, so the next thing to talk about was how to differentiate the tasks that we give our learners. So we've talked about the teaching and presentation, and then Mariam, I see you've just come back in. So do you want to say anything about the tasks that we give our students?
Okay, so when it comes to the task, so before, when you are going to plan a task, you should have to properly scaffold your content and for your learners. when you are scaffolding it, definitely after that you are going to design a task which is according to a specific individual need, like Marina has highlighted about Gardner's theory, and Imran is I have already talked about that. We have different type of learner, we have visual learners, we have kinesthetic learner. So we have to design a task according to that thing. For example, suppose if we are talking about an English language class, we are in English class we are talking about the literature circle. Okay, when we are designing the literature circle, so we have to talk about the we have to think about the reading task definitely, and over as well as we have to think about the auditory task as well. So according to their need, who is going in fluency, who is going in who is going to comprehend well, nice, so they have to design a task. But before that, again I'm saying, this is a task for the for the teachers specifically, to properly scaffold the content they are going to teach, which is very much important.
Okay, thanks very much, Mariam. And then, Marina, you've already talked a bit about activities for the children. So I'm going to go back to Imran again. So talking about the activities that we give our students, and you touched a bit on grouping, didn't you? So do you want to say anything about that? Can you hear me okay, Imran? Okay, let's pause that bit. I think maybe we've got a connection problem there with Imran, but that's okay. Now,
If we talk about, like, am I audible?
can measure how well they do it rather than how well they spell or how quickly they do something. Okay, and then I just want to pick up on another question. So Kadir says, what are the causes of lack of confidence while teaching students? Marina, do you have anything? Can you answer Kadir's question?
Okay. Yes, sure, Chris. Why not? First, I want to have a little comment on Imran's last conversation about that. The government schools are not having the very much resources, and that's why they cannot introduce the differentiate activities. So, as I'm working with I've worked in all over Pakistan, except Balochistan. So I've been to various kinds of schools, whether it's a private, whether they're government schools. But I came to the conclusion that if the teacher is well prepared, if he and she is planning before a day and develop the resources according to the need and according to the level of students, I think there is no any kind of excuses we can say that we are going through the overcrowded classes or we have lack of teachers. Even we can do the apply the multiple multi-grade teaching method as well, where the resources are very important and the activity the creativity activities are very important. And coming to the latest question which you asked, that can you repeat the answer? Sorry, question.
Yeah, it's okay. So he was talking about what are the causes of a lack of confidence.
Yeah, confidence. Yeah. As I've been in this teaching field for many years, the causes of lack of confidence are so many. First of all, child, how the child is treated at home, that is very important. How the parents are treating the child, they are treating the child. whether they're giving them much importance in the family conversation, whether they're giving them lead roles in the family, chores or responsibilities. That's very important. And when he or she comes to the school, how the teacher is treating him or her, whether they are giving them roles in the groups, whether they're bringing them in front of the class and ask for the presentations, whether they're giving them independent activities or tasks where they can do it and coming to the coming front and performing the activity. This is one of the we can say the encouragement level which we are giving at home or at school. Secondly, it comes to the poverty level. Some students, if they are not much that financially strengthened, they feel like we are not supposed to talk in the class because there are so many wealthy people in the class, they are rich, their dressing is good, they're good, bringing good lunch. So they feel like hesitant to share their views, hesitant to take lead, hesitant to, somehow as a teacher as well, we are more much tilted to those students who have a very sound background, who have a good well reputation in the society. If I have a poor kid in the class, if their parents are working as a office aide, or if I have another kid as a director's kid or any kind of bureaucrat's kid, if I'm making any differentiate among these two, so it will definitely suppress the poor child. If I'm giving the equal opportunity to all without making into notice that this child is not deserving this much treatment or this much, you can say interest in the class, so that child will grow. Yes, definitely, his or her confidence level will boost up. So it is the collective responsibility of a teacher, parents, and the society as well, how we are treating our students and how we are encouraging them to do the classwork, homework, or taking responsibility, giving them leadership roles in school, and maybe making them groups as clubs and forming clubs for them as literature club, environmental club, and discipline club, like that. So in this way, we can encourage them to enhance their confidence as well. So I think we all are responsible if the students are not performing good or the confidence level is very low.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Marina. Yes, and I think I'd agree with you when you talked about, how we treat the students in the school and what roles we give them. And then one thing we can do to differentiate speaking tasks is to give a little bit more time for students to think about what they want to say before they're required to speak, or maybe even talk to a partner before they talk to a group, and then perhaps before they talk to a class, to build their confidence.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. I can see, Ubaid, in the comments section, you want us to talk about rural areas and low on materials in rural areas. We don't have any more time now, Ubaid, but I would recommend you to follow Rachel's session. If you look in the comments section, click that link and watch the video. She gives a lot of examples how you can differentiate, and not many of them are using worksheets or materials. Okay, so I would really recommend that. Okay, we've run out of time. Just before we go, I just want to talk about one of our future events. So if you're in the audience, have you ever taken part in an online course or a webinar? Okay, because in about a month from now, we're going to have an event where we're going to invite teachers on who've taken part in an online course or a webinar to talk about your experience and how it's changed your teaching, if it has. Okay, so we'd love to hear from you. Please get in touch. You can write a comment in the comments section, or we'll share an email address which you can email us at as well if you want to take part. If you haven't taken part in an online course or a webinar, don't worry, it's not too late. I am sharing some pages right now in the comment section where you can find online courses and webinars to take part in. Okay, Wonderful. So thank you very much to all our speakers, Marina, Imran, and Mayam. It's been wonderful having you, having your expertise. Thank you very much to everybody who joined in the audience as well. Please join us again. In 2 weeks' time, we're going to have another event. We'll be talking about Pakistan Independence Day. So thank you very much. Goodbye for now.
Thank you.